Okay, next question.
All right, the second question is, who are the people you've most enjoyed knowing in your life? What did you do with them and why did you love them?
Oh my goodness, I guess I'd have to say my family. My dad and my mom and my sisters and brother. And my dad was a remarkable person. I always felt like he changed with whatever was going on. He lived to be over 90. And, he saw the gay revolution and he supported that. He got involved trying to have a computer. He needed lots of help from his grandsons to make the computer work. And when I was a kid, he would take us every place. When he was determined that we would be in every single state in the United States. And so every year we would take a trip across the country. We'd go a different route, so we'd hit some new states. And finally, I think we hit North Dakota. That was the last state that we needed to get to the 48. Hawaii and Alaska at that time weren't states, but since then I've been to those too. So I've been to all the 50 states. And he was a minister and a professor, and my mother was very much involved in his work, and they lived all over the world, and we always had friends from all over the world. We never knew who was coming for dinner and where they were from. And he had one good friend named Ba Min from Burma, for example, and he would be in our home lots of times and be there for dinner when we were there. So and then my sisters, I'm still very, very close to. They're probably my best friends. And my brother too, when he was alive.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in your lifetime? How did you overcome them and what did you learn from them?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is growing up in the 50s when I did, is that you saw as what you were supposed to be was a housewife when you grew up with children. And that's what a woman was supposed to be. And if you chose a profession, you were probably supposed to be a teacher or a nurse. And there weren't lots of possibilities for young women growing up. There was something called the glass ceiling still. And I think still when women get jobs in some of the professions, they don't make as much money as the men, and they're maybe not advanced to the top positions. And so it was very exciting to me when Hillary Clinton was running for president this time, and now perhaps she'll be Secretary of State. And so it was hard to overcome that and to think about what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I eventually ended up owning a store, owning a business in Berkeley with some other women that we started by ourselves. And that was a challenge. There was no map for doing something like that in those days.
So how did you overcome that challenge?
Well, I think one way that women overcame it was seeing the emergence of the civil rights movement and seeing the kind of things that African Americans could do to overcome their extreme handicaps in becoming equal members of society, and they haven't yet. And I think women haven't yet either. But one of the ways that women used to do it was to get together as a group and have, not self-improvement groups, but we would talk together about the issues that faced us and what steps we might take to do it. And so I think that was maybe what I would say about that.
All right. What do you think are key elements of living a happy and fulfilling life?
I think the main one is to try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and think how they would feel or be, in a certain situation. And it's really a way of loving people as you might love yourself, which I think is in the Bible. And I think if, that's one way of making yourself happy. And I think fulfilling too, trying to just live up to your potential as best you can, but also to enable those people who are around you to live up to their potential and see what is best in them, not what's worst in them. And also, I think it's very important to exercise your mind and your body and also your spiritual life. So that's probably how I'd answer that.
Thanks. What do you believe is ultimately important in life?
I think probably the most important thing we have, my mom and dad always said this, is our family. And today we're gathered at Thanksgiving, and there's no place I'd rather be. It always seemed sort of sad if you had to go to a restaurant, maybe just like with Eldon, my husband, or, and that kind of thing. And here we are all gathered together. We have a child who's only 2 years old. We have lots of kids in between. Kenny, your brother, came home from college in order to celebrate with us. And I think being together as a family is probably the most important thing to me.
All right, thanks, Grandma.
You're welcome. It's nice to talk to you, and those are really good questions.
Thank you, and you answered them well.
Okay.